This is the Second Chance at Health podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brad Hassig. Come join me as we remove confusion from the hottest health topics by discussing the latest research, along with what we've seen with thousands of our patients and amongst our community, family, friends, and people all over the nation and world. Let's dig in. Hey, this is Dr. Brad Hassig with the Second Chance at Health podcast. Today's episode, number 15, is There's Health in Numbers. Today's Bible verse is Proverbs 27, verse 17, which says, "As iron sharpens iron, so does one person sharpen another." I got to thinking about this past weekend. I had the great opportunity and blessing to be up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It was my 30th high school class reunion. Shout out to New Haven High School class of 1994. We had a great turnout. I've been to we've had them every 5 years. We've had class reunions and we've had amazing turnouts. Feel so blessed. Luckily, my best friend Jason Melton organizes these. So thank you, Melton. Give a shout out to you for doing that. We're also grateful. But it was amazing just to see everyone and talk to people and to see how incredibly grateful everyone was. I heard it more this time probably than all of them. You know, we love to see each other. Some people live in town. Some people live, all over the country. Some people have moved and then have moved back. But it was the gratitude and appreciation for getting to see each other and taking the time to do that. And I started to think about some of the numbers in relationships and people and health. And we had a lot of great conversations with so many people there. And, one of the things we looked at, I think our class started with close to 200 and then graduated right around 150. And it triggered a thought of mine from, relationships and maintaining relationships. And there's something called Dunbar's number. So Dunbar's number it was a British anthropologist, Robin Dunbar, and it's a theoretical cognitive limit to how many stable relationships that people can maintain. And I found that interesting when that's right around what our class number was to be around 150. Now, obviously not everyone was there, sadly, but not everyone was there, for one reason or the other to be able to attend. You have spouses, so people have come, people have gone. And obviously we've all had different aspects of life. Some people we'd known since kindergarten. Some people had been there junior high school, what have you. And then obviously you go into post high school graduation, whether it's immediately beginning work, whether it's going to college, going to grad school, what have you, moving away. So there's a lot of different things, that number can be affected, can be changed. But same thing. Shout out to spouses as well. There's a lot of people that I've gotten to know with that. So I don't want to leave you out. A lot of them have become very good friends, and I feel very honored and blessed and made a lot of efforts. We just had the airlines had their big issues because of the software update. So I know a lot of people made a lot of great efforts to be able to attend. So I want to remember the spouses with that as well. So with Dunbar's number, like I said, it's based on that number, and I'm going to go through and talk about some of the aspects of this, some of the key aspects of what it means. So the first part, you're going to talk about the social circles and the layers of what this is. So the first thing that you're going to have is something that's going to be called the intimate core, and those are the innermost circle. This is it's about 5 people, close friends, very close friends, family members who you have those very, very close relationships with. So it's naturally going to be smaller. Then you're getting into what would be called the sympathy group. And with that's extending outward from that intimate core. You're going to have the next is about 15 individuals. So you share strong trust and frequent interactions. It's going to be people that you're around or that you're contacting, because that was one of the things that I found. Some of my closest friends were up there, and I get to see them. We make an effort to see each other once a year. And then there's other people that we see 5 years, or we're messaging and things. So it doesn't have to be someone that lives right directly next door, but it's going to be somebody that you're very, very close to. Then you're getting into close friends. Now this expands out to about 50 individuals, and those are your close friends. Then you're getting into, as you extend out further in that, the casual friends, and that's the outer layer of 150, and that's going to include acquaintances, casual friends, people you see, on occasion, things like reunions. Those people mean a lot to you. You enjoy seeing them. You enjoy experiences that you've had, but it may not, it's not going to be somebody that you're talking to every day or week or even month. So then we're going to talk about the group dynamics and kind of social stability of things. So groups that are larger than 150 are going to have more rules, more regulations, and there's going to have to be a hierarchy. That's when you're starting to think of, getting into towns, cities, things like that. You're going to have some form of governmental structure to organize the group and keep the group kind of together because of that larger size. In smaller groups, that cohesive unit comes from those direct relationships and personal interaction and mutual understanding of one another. So, but once that number goes over 150, that starts to you can't hold it together with that. That's where you start to need to see more of that structure. So, some of the different evidence and applications that we see historically and from an anthropological, easy to say, evidence is the hunter-gatherer groups. You would see that size. Military units is another one currently. Small villages that historically they're right at around 150. And, modern applications then of this, we're going to see social media networks and businesses. I was just reading a book, and it was great. And they were talking about how this individual naturally knew. It was the Gore-Tex. They were talking about the family and the ones that invented Gore-Tex, and how he naturally knew, the original, the founder, he naturally knew that the group, once it got to be larger than 150, he would start another company. And he kept doing it and kept doing that because he wanted to know who was and where it came from him. He went out as the company grew so quickly. He went out one time on the floor, and he had always known everyone in every aspect of the business, knew stuff about them, knew their families, picnics, things like that. And he went out and he said, I don't know a lot of these people, because he had HR, he had hiring managers, trainers, people that he didn't know a lot of the people. They were strangers in his own business, and he didn't like that. So he naturally knew before the business started to struggle, I need to get back to this natural comfort. And so whether he had seen that, they didn't discuss that in the book, or if it was just by nature, he, intuitively knew this, we need to keep this around 150. So, and it's something you'll see with that even in the social circles. You'll see, like I said, social media, Facebook is a common, Instagram, what have you. You need to maintain the manageable social, dynamics. It's efficiency and cohesion of that group. So now there are limitations and some criticisms of what people will say, like anything else. Let's look at both sides of this. So some researchers are going to say, first of all, that Dunbar's number is not rigid, that as people have varying levels of cognitive abilities and capacities to be able to handle relationships. I do honestly believe that. And I've had other mentors talk with us. We see that even in, here I'm a chiropractor, my wife and I are chiropractors and have a practice. And does that number mean that's the number of patients that you can see, not on a daily basis, but you're maintaining those types of relationships. But then with training and focus and being connected and intent with what you're doing, does that go up? I'd like to say that it has. I've worked hard on that, and it's something that I've seen go up. I always say, and it was hard in practice. You care so much and you love on your patients and you're taking care of them, but you got to make sure you have something left for your family when you get home. I had some great mentors discuss that with me. Thank you, Dr. C, for you're one of the big influences that I had with that is, train so that there's more of you left over. You got to have it for the people that you care the most, your family, and then your friends, when you get home, make sure you got something left for them. So, I definitely think it can be. To what extent, we don't know. And the other thing is, I definitely think it changes and it fluctuates. There are times when you're locked in and things are going great, your energy's great, and you feel like you can conquer the world. And definitely at that point, I think you can manage more of those relationships better. There's other times, like when I had my incident, drowning cognitively for sure, I would get emotionally fatigued. And then you look here, death of a family member, a spouse, divorce, there's a lot of major life events, things like that. I definitely think that can decrease that. And you may see that, hey, I can't do a particular thing, or maybe I can't get together with this group this year. I've got to put this off to next year. And that's okay. I think that's in nature. You see very few things that are linear. So, don't be too hard on yourself. Now, if you find yourself getting secluded and your 150 is becoming, 2 or 3, then maybe we need to look at something else with that. But I think it can be developed. And then once again, the other thing too that potentially can cause it to be higher is social media and things. You can look at how many Facebook friends. Now, let's say you've got 400 or 500, 600 friends, and I'm not even going to get into other things where you see followers and views and stuff like that. But Facebook for sure allows for more of those interactions with people that you feel like you're staying up with these people. You see what's going on in their lives and their kids and their parents and all this stuff. And it almost feels like, I think maybe, I don't want to say falsely, but artificially, that you're knowing them or staying up with them better than what you really are. So, but I think it does allow you to probably carry a few more relationships than what you would be able to do normally without it. So, to give you some of the supporting research, Dunbar's research, has been around for quite a while. There has been follow-up research and further studies on this. It has supported his number. That's one of those things. And like I said, it's like anything else. I'm going to say it's more of an average 150, but it's pretty interesting. Pay attention to groups that you're involved in. Pay attention to, places of work, churches, things like that. You have to have something that's, even with the larger churches, they break them, what do? They break them down into Sunday school classes and small groups, things like that. You're taking a large organization and it makes it feel smaller. Then you can maintain those relationships a lot better with that. So, in conclusion with this, I'm going to say, one of the best is cherish your relationships. That was so impactful for me to go back and see that with my classmates. It means the world to me. Thanks again to all of you that, I've had a bunch of you told me that you listen to this. So, that means the world to me, and the relationships do. Cherish those relationships and put some effort into those. Anyone, if you ever need me like that, reach out to me, shoot me a message. I'm glad to connect with you and help in any way that I can. The other thing is, don't waste your time, your emotional energy, your mental RAM, whatever we want to call it. Don't waste it on toxic relationships, because you're going to miss out on the quality and value of and the healthy relationships. We're talking physical, chemical, emotional, spiritual, all these things that I discuss on this podcast. You've got to do what you can to protect those things. And I give you the other things, the physical things to do, the nutrition, the exercise, breathing, meditation, all these different things. But relationships, if you see there's toxic relationships, you are going to waste a lot of RAM. And I assure you, when we talk about that 150 number, yours is going to be lower if you allow those things to go on. And I get it. Sometimes people can't get out of something, but for the most part, I would say won't as opposed to can't get out of something. So protect that. You're worth it. God loves you. God wants us to have full lives. He puts people in our lives, special people in our lives, and you don't want to miss an opportunity on a special person or a special relationship. So hope that you've enjoyed this. I'd love to hear your comments. Leave comments for me. Once again, I get a lot of my ideas for topics from people sending me messages. So let me know what you think, and let me know about future topics you'd love to hear me talk about. Take care.